Welcome everyone back to NFL Talking Points, Week 8. I am your host, Joseph Gardner. Today we are going over everything that happened in Week 8 of the NFL. So excited to have you guys with us today. Later on this week, we'll be having our Power Rankings podcast. We will be having our preview for Week 9. Crazy that we're already in Week 9. It's absolutely nuts. That said, let's get right into it with Thursday night football. Chargers, Vikings in LA. Chargers end up coming out on top 37-10, and this wasn't even close ever. If we look at the net success rate, Chargers were almost 25% more successful play to play than the Vikings were on offense. So that kind of just tells the entire story here. Joe Alt returned, and that made a huge difference for this Chargers team. And on the other side of the ball with the Vikings, Carson Wentz, I feel bad for that dude. He should not have been playing in that game. I don't know how bad Brosmer, their third string, must have been to not have not play him. But it was absolutely nuts. We learned that Carson Wentz actually has a really bad shoulder injury, and it's a dislocated shoulder with a torn labrum and a fractured socket. And somehow he was playing an entire football game on that. I don't understand why he was playing, and it wasn't J.J. McCarthy or Brosmer, their third string. Either way, Vikings with a massive loss, 10-37, puts them really behind the eight ball as far as putting them in the playoffs. And the Chargers on the other side, looking a lot better. They'll be rising up in our power rankings. Next, we've got Sunday football. We'll start with one of the more shocking games. Dolphins going to Atlanta to face the Falcons. No Michael Penix Jr. for the Falcons in this one. And Dolphins come out on top, 34-10. A blowout by one of what looks like one of the worst teams of the league. We were talking about this Dolphins team being a team that was going to fire their coach and be trading some of their star players at the trade deadline coming up. And yet, here we are, Dolphins 34-10 on the Falcons. This is the second game this year that the Falcons have played an inferior opponent and looked like they shouldn't belong in the league. Absolutely crazy. A lot of people who are not Michael Penix lovers can go ahead and look at this game and say that Michael Penix is not the problem. I have Bijan Robinson in my fantasy league. I lost by 11, and Bijan Robinson gave me like 4 points. So the fact that he's not used more is malpractice to me. I think this Falcons offense has some major issues, and it's not because of the players. They have the players. They have the talent. It feels like coaching really needs to be leveled up here for them to be able to get off the mat. And on the Dolphins side, look, maybe we've got a comeback here with this Dolphins team on the rise. All of the AFC East teams won this week. The Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets all win in the same week. I don't know when the last time that was, but just kind of a crazy statistic for you. Crazy talking point, if you will. That said, we'll move on from this game. I can't take too much from this game about the Dolphins. I am going to take a little bit more from this Falcons team. They are not legitimate. They are not playoff contenders. That said, let's move to the next game. Next we got Bears going into Baltimore to face the Ravens. You can see I'm in a new setup. If you're on YouTube, you can see I've got a new room behind me. My wife and I just moved here to Illinois As you know, I'm a Packers fan, so I haven't been wearing any of my Packers gear because I don't want to be murdered. But here we are in Illinois. Bears first game. The Bears with me in Illinois, and the Bears get blown out 16-30. We were expecting Lamar Jackson to be back for this game. He was not. And yet the Ravens still put up 30 points. This Bears team so far this year has heavily relied on turnovers. Them and the Jaguars, I think, are essentially the same team. They're both really, really high picks at quarterback, number one picks. Generational quarterbacks coming out of college who have not played up to expectation, with defenses that are playing out of their minds, getting a ton of turnovers, and if there's no turnovers, there's no team. And that's how this game went. Bears couldn't get enough turnovers to do anything with the ball, and it wasn't close. I thought this Bears team was on the rise. I was expecting them to win this game, even with Lamar Jackson, and it wasn't. It wasn't the case. That said, this Ravens team is on the rise. The Steelers lose again. The Bengals somehow lost today. We'll get to that. But just looking at the slate, it looks like this Ravens team really does have a chance to come back in this division. It's just one of the best divisions you could be in if you're trying to start really poorly and come back, which is probably why the Bengals have done it year after year in this same division. Next, we've got the Bills and the Panthers. I picked the Panthers in this one, and looking back, it was not, maybe not the best pick. I still felt confident though. The Bills' run defense has been terrible. Panthers' running offense has been really, really good. And the Panthers decided, instead of sticking with the hot hand in Rico Dowdle, who has been playing out of his mind, they would give a majority of their workload to Chuba Hubbard. And I think that's essentially where this game went wrong. Way more touches for Chuba Hubbard than Rico Dowdle, even though through this game, Rico Dowdle had like twice as many yards per carry. That said, Bills win 40-9. This Bills team is back, baby. I don't know if I could say that really. They played the Panthers. Panthers are not a great team. They have a good running game if they play Rico Dowdle, and that's kind of what they've got going for them. Their passing defense is okay, but today the Bills just ran all over that Panthers defense. They had no answers. I saw a video of someone who said they ran the same exact toss play 9 times, and it worked every time for like 10 plus yards every time because of the way that the Panthers scheme up their defense. The Bills just schemed up to beat them, and that falls on coaching. That falls on a lot of different things. But I just this Bills team, way to get the win over a not very good Panthers team. Next, probably the game of the day. You got the Jets and the Bengals. Who thought that this was going to be the game of the day? Were pretty heavy favorites coming into this game. Joe Flacco playing out of his mind on offense, and at one point the Bengals had a 2.8% probability to lose the game. Jets had a 2.8% probability to win, and the Jets won it. They decided to go for a 2-point conversion when they were down 8, and they score that, and we're able to, their defense gets a stop. Jets go down the field, score another touchdown, field goal. Now they're up by 1, need another stop. Jets defense gives you the stop. It's the first time it's really happened all year. And it's the first win for the Jets all year. This Bengals team looks the same as it would have with Joe Burrow, more or less. Its offense puts up 38. Somehow the defense gives up 39 against a terrible Jets team. This week, the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, mentioned that he thought that Justin Fields couldn't complete any passes, that he was the reason that their offense was so bad, and their team was so bad was because their quarterback couldn't make any completions. And then Justin Fields goes off in this game. We'll see how that translates for the rest of the year. I don't have high hopes for it. I think this was one of those games that just went in the Jets' favor for once in their lives. So next we've got the 49ers and the Texans. This Texans team is hard to figure out because, yes, they win 26-15 against the 49ers team. This 49ers team is so beat up. I mean, if you look at just the two main players on defense in Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, I mean, those are two key pieces on that Niners defense. And then on the offense, you've got Ricky Pearsall, you've got Brock Purdy. Like, you've got big pieces on both sides of the ball that have been out. This game, I picked the 49ers because I didn't trust this Texans offense at all. The offense showed up today, and that was without their number one wide receiver in Nico Collins. I respect the Texans for getting this win. Their defense is stellar, but they are not a playoff team, and it's a playoff defense. It's a Super Bowl caliber defense. But the offense should be, if you were to split this team in half, the offense would be picking in the top 5, and the defense would be in the championship, if not the Super Bowl. So we're just going to move on from that. We're going to say I'm not going to take too much from this game. I do like the Texans, how they fought through this. Offense looked a lot better today. Let's see if they can take that forward. Next, you've got the Browns and the Patriots. The main thing to come out of this game was that Myles Garrett had 5 sacks on the day in the same game. Hit tops his personal record and the Browns' franchise record, and they lost 32-13. Myles Garrett was incredibly frustrated at the end of it, and if it's me, I'm saying, guess what, buddy? You decided to stick with this team and take the hundreds of $1 million contract. You knew that this team sucked. You knew that this was a bad team. You knew this team didn't have any plan, and you decided to stay here because you got a few $100 million, which I don't. I would do the same, But you can't be that upset at your team for losing when they've been a losing team the entire time you've been there, and then you decided to stay there because they gave you a ton of money. If you wanted to win, you could have gone somewhere else. You didn't want to win. You wanted the money. Can't be that upset. On the Patriots side, Drake May is, at this point, is my MVP. That or Daniel Jones. Drake May's playing so well, and every statistic possible, Drake May is insane. And the deeper he throws it, the more so this completion percentage over expected. The deeper he closes it, the more likely you're expecting it to be completed more often with Drake May. The deeper he throws it, the better he does, and that's kind of insane. Sam Darnold is very similar in his chart. Those are really the only two quarterbacks in the league right now. Drake May and Sam Darnold. You get them throwing the ball down the field. It's their best way to throw the ball, and they're getting open. This is a really dangerous Patriots team. Look out for them in the playoffs. This is my. I don't think that they're going to go that far in the playoffs. I think that they're a year or two away from a Super Bowl caliber team. This is my team that I would liken to the 2023 Packers. When Jordan Love was in his first year, they started out a little rocky, and then they picked it up, won a playoff game in Dallas, barely lost a game in San Francisco. That feels like what this Patriots team is to me right now. They are playing better than that Packers team. I just don't know if they have enough pieces on offense around Drake May to be able to compete with the top dogs. That said, this is a really good team. It's a playoff team. They are leading their division right now, and they're playing like one of the best teams in the league. So next we've got the Giants and the Eagles. Let me go back. Also, Quinshon Judkins of the Browns, their rookie running back, suffers an injury in this one. I love the way that this kid runs. Sucks to see him go out with an injury, and I mean that goes into the next game, the Giants and the Eagles. The main thing to come out of this game, Cam Scatabo, the Giants running back, with a dislocated ankle. Bad. It looked really bad on the tackle. His foot's like sticking backwards, and he's like asking his teammates to help him up so that he can walk to the side of the field. It's absolutely nuts. That's just who this kid is. Such a sad sight to see that the Cam Scatabo going down, and you've already lost Malik Neighbors this year. Next year, this team is going to be a really, really fun team to watch. We'll see what they look like the rest of the year. It's not looking great, though. On the Eagles side, their offensive mojo is back. No A.J. Brown for this game, and they looked just as good. Saquon finally is breaking some big runs. The other thing that I needed to talk about in this game is the controversial Tush Push. On the QB sneak, Jalen Hurts is getting pushed forward. They get stopped before. He's able to kind of go around to the side and get it past the line. But as he does so, the Giants defender is able to rip the ball out, land on it, and then the refs say they called the play dead for forward progress. And then if you look back at the review, you hear the whistle. The whistle doesn't come in until after the Giants player has the ball in his hands on the ground, and it's clear as day that he has the ball, and then you hear the whistle. And yet they expedited the review and said, oh, actually, this is not a reviewable play, and this was forward progress. It's Eagles ball, first and 10. And it's kind of crazy to me. Like, you either call forward progress being stopped, in which case he didn't get the first down and it would be turnover on downs, or he kept going. You didn't call forward progress because as soon as he kept going, as soon as he crossed the first down, that's when the ball was stripped and taken out of his hand. You're somehow have it both ways, where his forward progress wasn't stopped until he crossed the line, and then as soon as he crossed the line, right before it got stripped, while he's still moving forward, you're saying, okay, forward progress is stopped right now. No whistle. It seems incredibly fishy to me. I am not one to say that the NFL is rigging games, but for the people who say that, this is one of those things that's just going to give them juice. That's absolutely a play that needs to be reviewable, and the right call needs to be put forward in that situation, because it was 7-7 at that time, and if the Giants either get the turnover on downs or the turnover, either way, which it should have been one or the other, but somehow it was neither. If the Giants get the ball there, I mean that's a 14-point swing in a game that was decided by 18 points. And momentum change, it completely changes the game. I don't have anything else to say on that. I don't think it's officiate. You can't officiate that play. So if you can't officiate it, why is it in the game? So next you've got the Bucs and Saints. I expected the Saints to possibly win this one. I picked the Saints to win. That was a bad pick, obviously, because the Bucs won 23-3. However, they are the only team this week where, if you look at the net success rate, the Saints played better than the Bucs, and they were the only ones who played better and then lost. If you look at net success rate, the Saints team played better than the score looks, and the Bucs played worse. Yet here we are, 23-3. This Bucs team is on a roll. they've played a pretty easy schedule, and the ones that they've lost have been against really good teams. I don't have too much more to say on this one, so yeah, I won't. Next, we've got the Broncos Cowboys. This was another really highly anticipated game because it was a Broncos team with a phenomenal defense. But the Cowboys' offense has gone well against every other defense in the league. And could this be one of those big shootouts? Unfortunately, Dak Prescott didn't play his best game in this one. Had a few poor decisions, one of which was a interception right before the half. And this Broncos offense had a heyday with this Cowboys defense, putting up 44 points. Final score 44-24. Broncos are looking good in every facet of the game. Dangerous, dangerous team, especially if they let Bo Nix sling it. If you just give Bo Nix screen passes on every single play, it's not the best use of his skills. Get him rolling out, get him in play action, let him throw the ball down the field, and these receivers are getting open down the field. Let him put it on them. I know that there's a lot of people saying, Bover throw. Oh, it's a Bover throw again. Don't listen to that. There's plenty of quarterbacks who overthrow the ball, and let your kid do the work that he can do. So, next, we've got the Titans and Colts. Obviously, not a very fun game to watch because the Colts are the best team in the league. Titans are the worst team in the league. That's official. I'll give you that spoiler alert for the power rankings. Both Matthew R. Scott of the Matthew R. Scott Sports Show, check him out. Both of us had the Colts at 1 and the Titans at 32. Best team in the league versus the worst team in the league. A lot of people are saying Jonathan Taylor for MVP, but I think you don't realize how important Daniel Jones is to this offense. This is almost the exact same offense that they had last year, except for you added Tyler Warren and Daniel Jones. I don't think that this team would be doing good if it was Anthony Richardson and Tyler Warren. They wouldn't be 7-1. I think that Daniel Jones is the MVP on this team, and he should be in the top 3 in the MVP conversation right now. And it's no one's giving him the love. Maybe it's because of his Giants past. Maybe it's they think the whole team is playing well, so it's like, oh, well, if everyone else is good, how can just this one guy get the award? Well, it's the most valuable player. That's what MVP is. Daniel Jones is the most valuable player on that Colts team because if Daniel Jones goes out, are the Colts winning a game with Anthony Richardson? No, I do not think so. Yeah. Off of the Colts, onto the Titans. This didn't look much better from this new coaching staff. Interim coach doesn't seem to be getting it done. It's a bad team, and Cam Ward looked pretty bad again. I think Cam Ward is a good quarterback. This is a bad organization, a bad team. They're going to be fighting for the number 1 pick all year. So next, we've got Sunday Night Football, Packers and Steelers. I picked the Steelers in this one because the Packers defense has had issues with going against number 1 wide receivers all year. Big wide receivers who can win down the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't really hurt him too bad, but he has in the past. And I mean, just earlier this year, they struggled against Jamar Chase. They struggled against the Cowboys receiver George Pickens. They struggled against Trey McBride, and all these big wide receivers / tight ends who could get down the field and into space. They've struggled with, and DK Metcalf is that exact receiver. I mean, that is the exact receiver type that they've struggled with. Aaron Rodgers is the type of quarterback that they've struggled with, who's able to get the ball out quick, get it to his playmakers in space, let them work. And the Steelers' defense has been improving coming into their own. Their pass rush has improved. but it wasn't close. Packers end up winning 35-25. I'm good with being wrong on this one. Packers looked dead in the first half. Going into half, it was 7-13. Our kicker also missed 2 field goals, which were both pretty makeable. It could have been something like 41-25 pretty easily, or 41 to even less, because missing a field goal gives the opposing offense better field position. It could have been something closer to 41-22, and it was a blowout. By every metric, this Packers team played out of their minds. Only had 7 points going into the half, which means in the second half, this offense scored 28 points, and they didn't start with the ball. The Steelers started with the ball in the second half. It was a crazy, crazy day. This second half Packers team is what we saw in the first 2 weeks when the Packers went against the Lions and the Commanders. If the Packers can play at this level, they will win the Super Bowl. I don't think anyone else can beat the Packers when they are at this level. Run game was working well. The pass game was so good, and the reason for that is because Christian Watson, their number 1 wide receiver, came back from injury this week, and he opened up a ton of space for Tucker Kraft to be able to work today. Tucker Kraft balled out. 2 touchdowns, a ton of yards. He killed it, and it's because Christian Watson is going downfield and opening up the middle. Had a couple drops on third downs that would have made it even more of a blowout. A lot of people talked about, well, as soon as the Chiefs get their number 1 wide receiver and Rashee Rice back, then they're back. And everyone was talking about that the entire year. And Rashee Rice comes back, oh, what do you know? They're a phenomenal offense. And that's the whole storyline. And yet, with this Packers offense, Christian Watson, I guess, just isn't the brand name that Rashee Rice is. Maybe it's because he had an ACL injury in Week 18 in a meaningless Bears game last year. And Rashee Rice had a car crash that almost killed 10 people. And, maybe one's a little bit bigger of a story than the other. So that's my only thought. And maybe it's because the Chiefs are, Super Bowl, have been in the Super Bowl for the last half decade. So that said, I think that this Packers offense is back to full strength. You can count on it, just like with the Chiefs, man. The Chiefs get their wide receiver 1 back, and the offense changes dramatically. It's the same with this Packers offense. It's here to stay. Get ready for more Packers wins, and their schedule is a breeze for the next couple games. The Packers go into Carolina next week or this week, and we'll talk about that later. Lastly, we've got the Chiefs and the Commanders. Monday Night Football. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes threw 2 turnovers to start the first 2 drives, and the Commanders got 0 points out of them. And that pretty much decided the game. I think if the Commanders are able to score on those drives, it's a huge difference maker. Obviously, if the Commanders had gotten 14 more points, that would have been hopeful. Duh. They're still a touchdown behind. This Chiefs offense looks explosive as ever. This is Travis Kelce's best game that he's had in a minute. And the Chiefs are on the rise. They're playing really well. This Commanders team missing Jaden Daniels again. There's not enough pieces around Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota, who is playing backup, in order for this team to do much. For me, this Commanders team it's going to take a little bit longer than we expected. And at the beginning of the year, I took the under for their win totals. I think it was at 8.5 or 9.5. Pretty low, considering that this team went to the NFC Championship game. I just don't see the pieces. They're the oldest team in the league, and part of that has been that Jaden Daniels is out. He is a pretty big downgrade, or he is an upgrade to Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota is a pretty big downgrade to Jaden Daniels. That's Monday Night Football. Chiefs won 28-7. teams on bye this week did not play: the Cardinals, Lions, Jaguars, Raiders, Rams, Seahawks. All of these teams that I just talked about, we will all be in the Power Rankings episode coming up later this week, probably tomorrow if Matthew and I can get talking. Get that up for you guys. It's going to be a really, really fun Power Rankings episode. Lots of stuff to talk about. And I am so excited to see you guys there. Until we see you later in the week. So long.